Hey, I'm Grant, and welcome to the State of the Channel for August 14th. So, I don't think I actually have anything coming out this week, but there's something I'm kind of excited for I want to talk about is we filmed the first official, quote-unquote, episode of the Digression Bar podcast. So, a little bit of history. So we've done 9 test episodes, and that was to just absorb any technical glitches, just kind of like feeling out what kind of format we want, like small little technical stuff. Like a big issue, like when I started, is where can I put like notes up on this, like on a screen or on a TV, so I can remember what we're talking about. And like that's something where it's like there's a lot of really simple implementations. Like, do I put it on my phone? Do I put it in a notebook? Do I put it on the screen? That they all work, but until you actually sit down and record yourself, you don't realize that, oh, maybe like if I'm staring at my phone, it doesn't make the conversation flow as well, or it's nice if I put the notes up on the screen because, hey, then maybe they can help, the other people on the podcast can help me kind of flow into it, or maybe they'll like try to skip topics or come in halfway and then I have to yell at them. It's a lot of fun, but that was the point of those test episodes. And then I kind of hit a big timing issue where I wanted to have my friend Grant on the podcast, but he was leaving to go to a job in Arizona for a month. So all of a sudden it was like, okay, I think everything's kind of coming together, but we have to do it like tonight. So I think we filmed it Thursday night, starting at like 10:30 p.m. after I had like done all this stuff to get like some extra props, set up all this stuff, because that was the only time where I could get both Andrew and Grant. And I was like, oh, please don't make this the situation where, yeah, we got the timing all worked out, but now, we're going to try starting a podcast at 10:30 at night after one guy worked and the other guy has been packing all day. We're not going to have any energy. But honestly, it was a blast. And I think I haven't gone through and edited it yet and like put it all together, but I think it's a very solid first episode. And I think it's going to be a good thing going forward, because the big concern with this was I don't think it needs to necessarily be perfect because it's the first episode, but what I'm afraid of is, what if by like podcast 50, 1 year in, we're just really nailing it? Well, you can't really control where people go and how they discover these things. So yeah, I might know that I'd want people to start on episode 50 because that's the one we're the most produced and the most animated and we are the most experienced, but they're going to start on 1. So I look at just like now how much the one we filmed on Thursday, how better of an episode that is than our actual quote-unquote first one that was the test one. And I would hate if people came here and judged me by that first test episode. That's not at all what it became. Like, we had changed it internally just like so many little ways. But enough rambling on that. I'm really excited to have it all done and out. I guess it's not out yet, but filmed. That's a huge thing, is just getting everyone in one room and filming it. The rest, I can kind of like stay up a couple nights, film it, edit it, that kind of thing. But now all that's in front of me is I need to host the files. That's one of the reasons I wanted to squeeze this out before I finish the website, is I want to actually have a working RSS feed that I can point to so I can make sure the site works. I need to finish the site and host it, and hopefully then I can get a good URL, have everything set up and working, and actually fill it with good data, and then I just need to kind of release. Like, there's some things that I still am working on. Like, there's a lot of stuff I didn't do for the test episodes because they were test episodes. Like, I didn't really bother with descriptions on the videos because it's like, at this point, I'm really just doing it to put it out there and see how it works. I'm not really trying to make it a whole thing. Well, now that it is, I'm gonna have to go through and I'm gonna go and tag everything. I'm going to work up some like little lists on like, this is how I don't know, put the title of the video, this is how I put the description. That whole thing is gonna be what I'm working on. And I guess it's just, I'm kind of so elated because for the longest time with the podcast, it was driven by issues of getting everyone there on time, getting it started on time, making sure we have topics, and it was a whole lot of waiting. Now I just feel like the ball is kind of in my court, where now I just need to work on it. And this is more of a personal thing, but unfortunately this also came in the same week where I am on call for my work, so that means that I kept getting like called away to go work on these long hour issues. So that was unfortunate, and why I wasn't able to get it out, say for this upcoming Friday. I don't think it's going to be ready, but I'm just so excited to be able to sit down and like, now it's just like, just go. And once I have the site and podcast out there, like that's something that is a huge step of just legitimateness to it. I don't know what you would call it, where now it's not necessarily just, oh, some one-off video on YouTube. Now it's like, oh, you can go find it on your phone. You can go to this site. If I really wanted to, this is something I could put on a business card. It feels like it's less and less some one-off video I record with my friends, and it's more and more of a production. And I don't know how to describe it other than that. It's like, yeah, ton of things I'm gonna have to fix, and I'm sure once I go through editing, there's still some stuff we have to learn. Like in this one, for the first time, I actually tried filming a wide shot with my camera, and never done that before, so ultimately I just had to stick it in the corner. And I know it's gonna have issues because my phone, due to a limit with Android, can't record longer than 30 minutes. So it has to like stop and restart the file. So you lose like a couple seconds, and I'm hoping that that's not in a very important spot. But I'm just so excited. And unfortunately, I don't think I'll get anything out this week. I have plans that what I'd like to do with some of my other time this week is I really want to get that RuneScape stuff going, because it's a lot quicker to produce some of that stuff. And I know once I kind of get it rolling and I'm over that hump, it'll be easier to keep it coming out. Same thing with the Resident Evil. Like, I'd like to think that in addition to working on this podcast, I want to kind of spread it out. So just kind of like, let me get like episode 1 out. That way I'm kind of like, okay, I'm over the hump. Now I just need to like, just do 2. It's not this big long production of like, well, let's get started. And so exciting week for me, probably not for you guys because I won't have anything coming out for the channel, but it just seems like there's always a lot of stuff I'm working towards with the channel, and they're always plagued by just all these obstacles, whether they're timing, resources, equipment, and it's always great when you finally start to get to the end of these massive projects, like, hey, it's all like this idea I have, it's almost real. Like when I think the best example I could have is for the longest time, if you look back at that Handsome Jack project, for the longest time, that was just an idea. You know, it's like, I could have abandoned it at any point. I wouldn't have been any worse off. I was just doing research. And then once I actually had the like 6 foot tall standee in my house, it's like, now I'm going to do it. I'm going to do the thing. So other closing notes, I'm actually hoping to do a little thing, one more build, kind of like Jack. It's not the focus of the channel, but I think it's fun. And I want to have cool stuff to put in the background of the podcast, or just kind of like semi-decorate my apartment. So I think 2 ideas I want to keep kind of looking forward, but that's way far off. Kind of like how this, for the longest time, the podcast idea was a backseat for Dead Rising Chop to Drop. Well, now that is going to be a backseat for getting this podcast out. So super busy week for me, but as always, you can reach me over on Twitter. It's @taken4grandD, and I'll see you guys again next week.